Hi everyone, I'm Nahal Norouzi. I'm a PhD student here at the University of Central Florida, and today I'm going to share with you my research, which is about augmented reality animals and their potential roles in our lives in the future. So humans and animals historically have formed very close and strong bonds with each other and have been each other's companions, and this brings about the question of why do so many people like animals? Over the years, a number of explanations have been proposed to answer this question. For instance, one of them is the biophilia hypothesis that suggests that humans inherently have this tendency to be in contact with natural life forms. The other one is the social support theory that says that we experience social support when we feel like we're loved and we're cared for. Pets actually have been identified as an important source of social support. Another one is the baby schema theory that says that humans have this tendency to pay more care and attention and have more affect towards entities with baby-like features, which includes obviously babies and, for instance, many pets and animals. Also, research shows that our interactions with animals have resulted in a number of social, mental, and health benefits for humans. Interestingly, research looking at robotic animals and virtual animals have shown a potential for capturing some of these benefits in their own domains. And knowing that some of these benefits are transferable to different domains, and at the same time the technological advances in AR, putting these two together opens up new opportunities for realizing animals in augmented reality and potentially making attempts to overcome some of the limitations that exist with interactions with real animals. So to better understand augmented reality animals, here I'm going to propose a number of high-level research questions. So my first research question is that what are the impacts of AR animals on humans' perception, cognition, behavior? And as you see in the figure, each of them can have their own subcategories that can be researched. My other question is that knowing the influences of real animals, knowing their influences and roles, can AR animals to some degree elicit similar effects on humans? And are there effects that can be specific and novel to AR animals? Also, what are the different roles that AR animals can assume, and are there again roles that can be solely specific to AR animals? To give you a quick roadmap, I'm in the midst of my second experiment revolving around AR animals. I'll briefly talk about experiment 1 and 2, and then go over potential future research experiments. So in experiment 1, our study was mainly focused on understanding how an AR dog is perceived in the context of a shared physical space. So our participants had their own AR dog, and then in that space they observed strangers. And you can see these participants observed strangers who were co-experimenters, but strangers to participants. And these strangers in that interaction walked over participants' AR dog. We noticed during this physical interaction, that when the AR dog responded to this physical event, to this collision, and fell over and got hurt, participants actually felt more present with the AR dog and attributed a higher level of awareness and physicality to their AR dog. And also, interestingly, we noticed that even if in some conditions the strangers had no idea that the dog was there, this single behavior of responding to the collision compared to not doing anything at all actually make the participants like the stranger less, even if they had no idea the dog was there. This brings about an important question of when we're designing, for instance, companion animals, what is the appropriate level of realistic behavior to make sure that we maintain the co-presence experienced by the human, and at the same time make sure that we are not negatively affecting their social interactions. Our second experiment focuses on the potential of AR animals eliciting similar stress-reducing effects that real animals, such as real dogs, have. So the questions that I'm trying to answer here is that, can the AR dog reduce participants' stress and increase their sense of comfort? And if compared to scenarios when they might not have a companion and a support figure. And also, if people are involved in stressful tasks, can the presence of an AR dog increase their performance? For future research, my current thinking and inclination is to look towards the impacts of an AR-animal interface on the cognitive processes of humans. So my first question is that, what is a task spectrum where an AR-animal interface can be beneficial to human cognition? So an example of spectrum is that on one side of the spectrum is the realistic side. So for instance, if my interface, ARAnimal, is an AR dog, it will be dog-like behaviors and affordances and tasks. So the ARAnimal will be designed to do exactly the same tasks that would make sense for a real dog to do. And on the other side of the spectrum, the virtual side, it's novel affordances and novel behaviors. So the ARAnimal is capable of doing things that real animals might not be capable of doing. For instance, an AR dog can help us with decision making or help us with memory and recall. So my first question is trying to assess how an ARAnimal would be beneficial in either side of this spectrum. My second question here is that in many applications and AR experiences that are aimed to directly or indirectly enhance human cognition, usually some non-organic conventional mechanisms are used, such as visual icons or annotations. And I want to understand, compared to these mechanisms, how an ARAnimal and AR dog interface would perform. And is it able to solely on its own influence human cognition, or is it better to have these approaches combined with each other? And to quickly summarize the research areas that I'm trying to look at, the ones with green boundaries are things that I have explored more. The ones with purple boundaries have been explored slightly less, and the red ones, which are mostly the cognitive ones, have been explored much less. There might be some areas that are not in this figure, so if you think of something that's not here, please share. And again, I am thinking mostly to focus on the cognitive aspects. That's my current thinking, at least. And thank you so much for paying attention to my talk. And I appreciate any comment, feedback, questions that you might have. And in the table above, you see some of the other talks that in the coming days, my lab mates are going to have. So if something interests you, please do go ahead and attend. And thank you again.